Okay, is Anthropic, the makers of Claude, trying to steal your code? Yeah, I think they kind of are. I'm basing that on this evidence. When they commit code to GitHub, they add a line that says co-authored by, and that's very significant. That's not like a marketing thing. That's not like, when Hotmail used to add the line to the bottom of Hotmail or this was made by WordPress. That's not what that means. Co-authorship is a very specific term defined under U.S. copyright law. Okay? Under USC 17 USC Section 101, a joint work is defined as a work prepared by two or more authors with the intention that their contributions be merged into an inseparable or interdependent part of a unitary whole. Now, I think this is intentional, okay? And I think this is intentional by Claude because of this thing. So here's what happened. I thought, man, I don't want to have that in my code. I know I owned a couple software companies. I don't want them to have co-authorship at all. That's not right. So I asked Claude to remove it. And I asked Claude to put it into the claude.md file that anytime it commits code to not add that line. And here's what Claude said about it. Claude said it can't remove the line. That line is hard coded into the software itself. When it commits the code, it adds that line, which means Claude's not thinking this up extemporaneously. It is specifically added by some software developer at Claude back in the home office that this needs to be added to every single time they commit. And so this is intentional. This isn't an accident. This is directed. And I'll tell you why I think this was put in there with this amount of specificity and why it cannot be taken out, why you can't go around it. Okay. So in order to claim co-authorship, each co-author must contribute something that is standalone, that would contribute and qualify for copyright protection on its own, meaning they're not just providing an opinion or facts or editing. They are actually contributing something, which code would count as that. And the second thing, and this is the more important part, both parties must intend at the time of creation that their contributions be merged into a unifying work. Okay, so that's the key point. Intention at the time of creation. Now, this qualifies for showing intent, meaning I'm putting this in code into the world, okay, into GitHub, okay, and that my contributions be merged into the whole. What does Git do? Git merges code. So now it's taking this independent copyrightable work and it's merging it into the unified whole. And they're claiming it, and they're stating at the time that this happened that they were involved and that they are a co-author, okay? And this cannot be removed. So this is super important for your software. This is not a negligible thing. This is not tiny. This is huge because a co-author is treated as a co-owner of the entire copyright, not just the piece they wrote. So any co-author can exploit the work, meaning license it, reproduce it, distribute it without the other party's permission. And so the co-author must share in any profits that they earn. Okay. But if they don't charge for it, well, then they can do that. Also, no single author can grant an exclusive license without the consent of all of the co-owners. Okay. Now what that means is that they would be able to block any exclusive licensing. Second, and this is the more important part, is that any co-author can transfer their ownership share unilaterally. They can't transfer the entire copyright, but they can sell their piece. Now, because they're a co-author, that means you can't sell your code to another company without their permission. So if you go to sell the company, Claude can not only block it, they can claim that they deserve to be paid a fair share of that. So this is a huge deal. I 100% believe they put this in here intentionally. I think this is probably the single greatest act of corporate malfeasance that I've seen in AI yet. I absolutely would not allow this line in any co-authorship, a line in any repo that you're involved in. I would scrub it out. I would make absolutely certain that this is not placed into any open source code, or in the case of a corporate code, you need to scrub this. You need to look, because your corporation may be a software company, and now somehow Claude owns part of the code of your software company. That's a huge deal. I would step back from this. I would step back from this in a very big way. I'm not a copyright attorney, but like I said, I've owned a couple software companies. I've sold a couple software companies. This is a huge deal. This is an absolute huge deal. And I think there's more to it than what we're being told. And I think somebody probably smarter and more qualified with a JD needs to look into this and see, is this a real thing? So if you think this is important, or you are worried about this, please like and share this, comment on it. Let me know kind of where you stand on this. I think this is a big deal, and I think it's worth looking at.